Welcome everybody to World of Tanks Replays. My name is Maxwell and today's first replay is from the user Keldor. That is Keldor and he's driving the M24 Chaffee on a standard battle on Westfield. So I thought I'd bring you guys a couple of light tank replays today, owing to the fact of the shake-up, the recent shake-up to the American light tree, starting here with the M24 Chaffee and continuing on with its successors all the way up to Tier 8. Although most of the different tank lines different nations have had Tier 8 light tanks added this time. In the 9.3 patch, I thought I'd bring you the Americans because I've got a couple of good replays that I wanted to show you. So straight away, Keldor going to be heading up the middle, taking to the high ground on the left-hand side of the valley. Going to be setting himself up in a bush. Going to see who we can spot out, but he thinks he's probably a little bit too far forward here, so drops back a little bit in order to get a little bit more cover behind a few more bushes, just to make sure that if he does have to fire like he does there, he will not get spotted. Finds a leopard here as well, has a quick shot at him, but just about misses. You can see the gun on this thing, not fantastically accurate at 430 meters, but is landing some nice shots on different targets here. Looks like everybody's sick of taking fire to the face, so they have all fallen back now. Keldor just going to sit in the same spot, keeping an eye on the tanks here and keeping an eye on the ridgeline, making sure that no one's going to pop their head over. As soon as somebody does pop their head over there, he's going to spot them right out. Did see a tree fall on the hillside there, so that's either somebody making a run for it, trying to get away, or maybe advancing forward. T37 going to push all the way up the right-hand side. Just about missed out that shot, but the T37 has stopped now, so that one's going to go straight through his side armor. He is possibly tracked, because he just decided not to move. Now has a look up at this Panzer III, gets a nice shot through his turret. The Leopard has saw the way that the battle's going with the T-34 falling, and he's decided to reverse back behind the hillside now. Going to try and get himself away. So the Chaffee is now a lot more in line with other Tier 5 light tanks. As you can see, it doesn't have that big turret anymore, and also doesn't have the big cannon either. Gets a slightly smaller gun if we just take a look at it there. 110 damage and 96 penetration, but it's still a good vehicle. It can still work very well in a brawl, can put out some decent damage and is nice, quick and maneuverable. Spots out a Leopard making a push through the center of the map here. Not quite able to get eyes back on him. Can't see where he is. To be honest, he's probably a lot more far advanced than Keldor thinks here, as he looked like he was making a beeline straight for the little village there. Spots out the Panzer III, just being careful that the Leopard isn't still where he thought he was, but as you can see, the Leopard has made his way into the village here. Keldor going to come in behind the Panzer III, take him out. Now he's going to switch his attention across to the Leopard and take him out, and now he's got to get into cover. Make sure that he doesn't take any fire from the hillsides and any of the enemy tanks camping in that area. But it looks like the Panzer III and the Leopard were the only guys in this area, and Keldor has done a fantastic job of taking those two out. Now going to make his way slowly and carefully up the side of the hill. Going to find what he can at the top here. As you can see, the game's not going very well in the favour of the Allies here, losing as they are 6 kills to 8. But to be honest, with 3 artillery aside, Keldor could possibly even that score up very, very nicely and very, very quickly if he can get in behind them. And to be honest, I think that Leopard and that Panzer III were going to be the only guys on this hillside. And with them making a suicide charge through the center and getting absolutely obliterated, there may be nobody left to defend the artillery. Gets a nice shot on that Chi Nu there. Going to fire a few more off just into the fog of war, thanks to that under 3.5 second reload. He's able to put in some quick shots there. Does find one artillery in the form of this Panzer Soufflé 4B. Just going to rain fire down on his flank from the side to pick up kill number 1 or kill number 4. But first on the artillery. Sees one of them to the left and one of them to the right. Decides to go for the Hummel first. Gives him a little bit of a ram just for the extra damage. And now he's going to switch his attention to the M44. Aims just long enough. Takes him out for Scoochie's medal and a top gun. So fantastic piece of work there to get in behind the enemy artillery after taking out their defenders. There was nobody left to ward off the attackers, and they've evened this one up very nicely at 12 kills to 11. Looks like this Chi-Nu is going to go for a base capture. The T-150 and Su-85 are left to head back towards the base and try and deal with the enemy cappers here. Looks like the enemy Chi-Nu is going to be sitting in this area. He's a little bit heavily damaged from the exchange that Keldor had with him earlier. He's looking towards his own cap circle, so Keldor looks like he can take him by surprise here. Just going to head him off so he can't get past. One more shot should be enough to take him out. As he got the reload, he has indeed. Takes him out for kill number 7. And everybody else is getting wiped out, though. The T-150 has fallen now against the Jackson that is in the cap circle. The Su-85's also fallen now, and that just leaves Keldor himself, the Chi-Nu who's going for a base capture, and this Jackson with 4 kills. No matter what happens here, they're going to walk away with the victory. As you can see, Keldor saying something rare in chat, not kill all no cap noobs, saying no matter what you do, keep capping, because if this all goes wrong, he's only got 98 hit points. If this all goes wrong, they're going to need this base capture. Jackson's only got 64 hit points. He's got to let his gun aim just long enough. That one bounced, but it looks like the Jackson is AFK'd because he knows this one is over. Keldor picks up kill number 8, 1600 points of damage, and walks away with the victory. So that was an absolutely awesome replay there from Keldor, showing off his skills in the M24 Chaffee, pushing directly through the centre to ward off that attack from the Panzer III and the Leopard there, and then realising that the defenders on that far right-hand flank had fallen, decided to push through there and get behind the enemy artillery and take them all out for the Pascucci's medal. Now he's picked himself up a Top Gun and a well-deserved Radley Walters. So thank you very much for sending that replay in. Don't forget to stick around, because there is another awesome light tank replay coming right up. And our second replay is from the user Finnicus. That is Finnicus, and he's driving the T37 on a standard battle on the Serene Coast. T37 is a tier 6 light tank for the Americans. This one is the one that looks a lot more like the old style Chaffee does. As you can see, it has that same kind of turret, although it is a hell of a lot larger than the Chaffee was. In fact, just looking at that Comet platoon mate there in the back, you can see that this tank is a little bit large. It's like a Chaffee that's been hitting the gym a little bit, put on a little bit more muscle mass, and is a little bit larger than you may remember. But having said that, it is still a light and nippy light tank. Although, as you can see, it is the same width as a WZ there, which is a little bit unexpected. But yes, this is still a light tank. And he is setting up in a scouting position. Going to see who we can spot out behind that large bush there. Going to see if we can get some early shots on this E50. And a little bit unfortunate not to penetrate that one, as that one went up through the underfloor by the looks. But although that may have gone through the track and the side armour contained behind the track there, and that might be why that one bounced rather than going through the floor of the vehicle. Did get spotted out having taken that shot, so going to relocate. Don't want a chance getting seen twice in the same location, as that is just inviting artillery to rain down on your head, or someone to have a blind shot at you or be pre-aimed at your location when you pop up. And with 3 artillery on the enemy team, don't want to get hit by any of those guys, especially not in a light tank. Transitions across to the centre of the map, finds an AMX 1390. He's managed to pull himself forward behind a rock now. Finnicus still having a look, though. Going to try and get some shots through his side armour. Does see the 1390 again. In fact, let's just see what the cannon on this thing's like. 115 damage and 150 penetration. So it has the penetration to be able to deal with larger tanks. Just about missed that one out, unfortunately, as it is over 450 metres. That one just went into the rock just to the left of the AMX 1390. Not having the best luck so far with his shots. Gonna see if he can hopefully correct that. Does see the side of the Alf Klein's Panther, or otherwise known as the Awful Panther, for people that can't pronounce things like myself. And he's putting a good few shots through the side of this Panther. He straightens up now in an effort to stop getting shot, and that has worked out well for him, as he is now no longer getting shot. AMX 1390 looks like he's dueling with a Lerva. but now he's switching his attention back across. Really wants to hit this AMX 1390. Finally does get one in the side of his turret, and that one just bounced somehow. A little bit unfortunate. Does put a couple more shots into the fog of war, as he does have just above 3-second reload, so that one is nice and fast. Looks like he may have gotten some damage on that 1390, but it is hard to tell. I don't remember off the top of my head what his health was before he faded away. Still trying to get shots on him. Maybe wasting a little bit of time here. As you can see, the AMX 1390, the allied AMX 1390 has now charged in and trying to get some damage on this Lurver. And the Comet has come from behind, although he's getting butt hurt by a Type 59 right now. But just going to ignore the Type 59 for the time being and try and take out the Lurver. Does get a shot on his track, although it was just a 0 damage critical. Now he's going to put some shots through his rear armor, and he gets taken out by the Lorraine 40-ton. Now it's going to be a case of trying to help out his platoon mate in the Comet from the Type 59. Does have some shots on his underbelly, so is able to get some damage there. AMX 1390 comes in the way and takes a shot for his trouble. Type 59 doing his best to remain behind the Comet. His Comet ally gets taken out, but then he falls to the AMX 1390. Now it is a chance to reset and relocate. Enemy team still pushing very heavily on that right-hand side. Those heavy tanks have won the day very, very convincingly here. Just setting up in case he can get a shot on this Centurion 1, but instead gets a hit on his counterpart on the enemy team, the other T37. He looks like he drops back as he doesn't want any of that fight. So we're going to hide behind this rock just for a little bit, take stock of the situation and find where best to go. Going to head up on the train tracks to see if we can get another shot on the T37 or this T30 moving in on that left-hand side. T37 maybe making a run across the train tracks here, but it looks like he's out of time as that AMX 1390 has closed in on the base. Going to get a shot through the side of this T30 just for good measure while he can. T30 aims his cannon in this direction. He's got to move back as that T30 with the upgraded cannon will be able to take him out in a single shot. T30 did fire way after Finnicus moved behind the rock, so maybe his reflexes or his ping aren't quite up to scratch. Just leaving his base to fend for itself at the moment. There is a Foch in there, and he might be able to do something about the attacking enemies here, although it looks like there are two ST1s, a T34 and an AMX 1390 there. There's going to be no way in hell a Foch and an SU-152 are going to be able to hold that off. T30 standing resolutely, aiming in Finnicus's direction. He's almost certainly faded back into the fog of war now. And with him fading away, he's going to make a bolt for the base there. It's being capped by two enemies at the moment, so he's got to make a beeline for this one. Get in there as quickly as possible and try and decap. The Foch and the SU-152 are both still alive now, so doing a good job of not dying. But like I said, there is two ST1s, a T34 and an AMX 1390 in there. Gonna try and aim his shot on the AMX 1390. Finally gets a hit onto him after trying for most of the game to get some damage on him. He takes him out. There's only 12 seconds left on the cap clock now. He's got to try and reset on someone. He does reset on the first ST1. The other one's got some cap points as well, doing the smart thing here of getting a shot on each of them to reset that cap as much as possible. Trying to get some shots through the rear of this ST1. The first ST1 that's on the low hit points knows that he's here, so he's got to be careful he doesn't just charge around the corner and take him out. Looks like he is charging around the corner now, so Finnicus just going to reverse out of there, try and get the hell away. Hopefully they are both going to now start paying attention to the front where this SU-152 is. And Finnicus just going to reverse all the way out of there. His camo's probably kicked back in about now. He's going to try and flank around the rear of these guys. They've now got over a minute left on the clock, so they don't have to rush this one. The SU-152 resets again. And the Allies, well, that AMX 1390 is going for a base capture, but he's going to have to try and duel with a T30. And that's not going to be very, very easy. Although the T-30's turret traverse speed is terrible. Allows his gun to close in on the rear of this ST-1. Gets one good hit. One more is all he needs. That one bounces because of Russian armor. That one doesn't. He gets taken out. The other ST-1 fires and misses. And he's going to have to get around the side or the rear because there's going to be no way he can damage him from the front. Does have the speed to get around the side. Can he get another shot? He can indeed. Kill number 3. 2 and a bit thousand points of damage. It's just himself and this AMX 1390 left alive. The AMX 1390 is almost certainly reloading at this point, but he doesn't want to leave the comfort and the warm embrace of that T-30. The second he pulls away from the T-30, the T-30 will take him out like he just did there. Now this game is all even at 14 kills to 14. He did a good job though. Took almost 1,000 hit points off that T-30. Finnicus did get 1 or 2 good hits onto him. I think it was just 1. Which meant that the AMX probably got about 800 damage on him. He's asking if the T-30 has the small gun. And unfortunately, no. He's got the top gun. Which means all he needs is 1 shot onto Finnicus with his measly 676 hit points. I think he may, if very, very, very lucky, and the T-30 gets one of the lowest rolls he possibly can, he may be able to survive 1 shot. But to be honest, he just needs to be thinking that he can't afford to take a single hit and has to play this one very, very smart. He's got almost 6 minutes on the clock, so he definitely doesn't have to rush this one. Playing it very smart there, not drifting into the cap circle, so the T-30 has no idea where he is. If he'd driven through the cap circle there, the T-30 would have known exactly where he was, that he was in the cap circle and making a move through that area, and he could have moved to compensate for that. Just trying to outmaneuver and outplay the T-30 at the moment. He's got the speed and the agility, and he really needs to use that to his advantage. But he's got to try and come at the T-30 from an unexpected angle and try and get some damage onto him. He's got 734 hit points, and with a cannon that does an average damage of 115, you've got to think, worst case scenario, that's going to be about 9 or 10 shots that he's got to land on the T-30, and the T-30 only has to land a single good hit onto him to be able to take him out. Just playing this one very carefully now. And you can understand why. After we just talked about having to land 9 or 10 good hits onto the T-30, and the T-30 only needs a single good hit to take you out of the battle. T-30 probably hasn't had that good a game, but he could be the saving grace for his team if he can play this one carefully and outplay and outthink Finnicus. This one is coming down to strategy and planning. Finnicus thinking about heading over the train tracks now. Not sure there's enough cover on the other side. Does get a side shot on the T-30 there. Moves across the train track. He may be able to get another shot, but he's playing very dangerously here, because if that T-30 comes over all the way... Oh, T-30 had a snapshot and missed. And he's just going to sit there and take this one, and Finnicus takes out his track. He's going to be able to get at least 3 shots more into this T-30 before the T-30 reloads. That one didn't quite go through, and he's left him with 268 hit points, and he's got to try and get into cover now. Does put some terrain between himself and the T-30, and he's going to fall back now. Camo almost certainly reapplied. He's going to drop down into the little valley here. Now going to try and come around the side of the T-30. Just going to speed this one up a little bit till we get back into the action. As you can see, T-30 still on the tracks. He has straightened up. He is pointing in this direction. Didn't quite get any damage on him there. Going to try and get that one through the track area. That one didn't go through either. T-30 showing a little bit more fire discipline here. Not pulling the trigger when he didn't have a shot. He's got 200 and some hit points left, and with very unlucky rolls, that's going to be at least 3 shots from Finnicus. If he gets high rolls, that could be as few as 2. 268 hit points. He's got to go on the assumption that it's going to require 3 shots. So if the T-30 fires and misses, and he can get around the side or the rear of him, as he's not having fantastic luck going through that front armor, And I've just realised, I've just looked down at the ammunition counter here, and he only has 2 AP and 3 high explosive shells remaining. Even if he lands both of these AP shells at damaging shots, he's then got to rely on his high explosive ammunition going through the side or rear armour, because that stuff isn't really going to do any damage from the front thanks to the thickness of the T-30's armour. Not that the T-30's got legendary thick armour, but when you've got a small caliber weapon like this, well, it's not particularly small caliber, when you've got a small alpha damage weapon like this, high explosive ammunition tends to be a little bit hit and miss, especially when it only has 38mm of penetration. Going to be playing this one carefully. To be honest, the T-30's probably backed off into a bush. There's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, so he's probably content to go for the draw, snatch the victory away from Finneker's. T-30's on the left-hand side. He's making a break for a bush. He gets one good shot. Oh, he sets him on fire. That is the best thing that could have possibly happened for him. His second shot takes him out. He doesn't have to rely on the high explosive ammunition at all, thanks to the fact he set him on fire. The added salt to the injury there for the T-30 is that he wasted his gold fire extinguisher to boot. So absolutely awesome replay there from Finneker's, picking himself up 3,000 points of damage, 4 kills, and really coming out on top in the battle of wits against the T-30 at the end there. So awesome replay there from Finneker's. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, please send that into replay@screenreality.com. The link for that is in the description. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, informative, you learned something, or you just enjoyed it, then think about hitting that subscribe button, because there's a lot more World of Tanks content on this channel. I've been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks Replays, and I'll catch you guys next time.